Good morning. It is Thanksgiving Day. I woke up a little bit ago, went and started some coffee. The coffee is done. I'm gonna make coffee and talk to you about God's autobiography. Talk to me, I guess. Talk to future me about God's autobiography. So I'm gonna pour some dang coffee. I've recently gotten back into film. Well, started. I'm gonna be filming today another game development tutorial clone. This time for Frogger. So I want to talk a little bit about coding, but it's weird because it goes back further than that. I missed the cups. So it's not all about coding. I'm rambling. It's going to be one of those days. That's fine. It's fine. So as the first and second video of this, I believe I mentioned, why do I keep going to the cabinet? There's nothing in there that I need. I mentioned the basement at Beastwood. So the segue from coding to living conditions will make sense later. In Beastwood, as I said, I was living in the basement. I don't know how far into this I went, so this could be a repeat of a lot of the information in the first one, second one, whatever. But I was living in a spot that was illegal to live in because there was no fire escape. So if there was a fire, I was done. Well, if there was a fire while I was down there, I was done. And the landlord needed to get an inspector to come in and check everything, and we needed to convince the inspector that nobody lived in the basement. So I had converted what was a nice living space into the pile of shit that you saw in the first episode. And I had to live like that for like fucking getting close to a third to a half a year. It's like 4 to 6 months of living among just shit, just storage, just garbage pretty much. That was awful. And I really hated that living condition. And I don't want to do that again. It would be sweet if that never happened again. But I moved to Colorado. And while I was in Colorado, more in the latter couple months that I was there, I got really big into doing game jams. I was already doing them before, but more frequently, and I spent a lot more time on it. So my buddy Zach, who's in Ohio, still haven't met the kid, he does all the artwork for the games that I make, and I do all the coding. We kind of split the game design. We work really, really well together. I'm actually really happy about our team. But we were doing one that ended January 1st of this year, 2018. So it went at the end of 2017, ended on the 1st, I think at 1 in the morning. This game jam, actually, I almost fucked up so bad. I kind of did. I think this is the same one. I wish I had saved the video because I didn't know that Twitch kept it in for a little while, and I could have gone and I could have grabbed it. But I submitted the game to the jam, and then we just with a few things missing because I was like, fuck, I don't know if we're gonna have time for this. I'm gonna submit it now. I'll try to update it. So I submitted it, tried to update it. I updated it, tried to submit it again. It didn't work. I don't remember what broke, but it didn't work. And then I was like, shit, fixed it, fixed the upload. Fixed the upload, tried to submit it again. And the timer, the timer had run out. So I could not submit anything. We worked so hard in this fucking game, and I just couldn't submit anything. I was able to kind of mention this in the comment section, and they gave me a link. They let me submit it a little bit late, so that was really great on their part. But that's about 1 in the morning on the beginning of this year. So I go upstairs. I'm talking to Dylan and Yon in Dylan's room, just out to the guys I lived with. I got really, really close with Dylan, just one of my great friends, the friends that's out there. And just finished this game, pretty exhausted, just having a good conversation. Jan leaves, goes downstairs, comes back a little bit later, and Dylan and I are still talking. He's just kind of waiting there. And we finally get to a pause in the conversation. Jan says, a little calmly, goes, hey, guys, I didn't really want to interrupt you while you're talking, but there's some water coming out downstairs of somewhere that it shouldn't be coming out of. We're like, we have a fucking leak or a flood or something? You can't really wait for someone's conversation to end. So we go downstairs, and there's not a little bit of water. There's a lot of fucking water just pouring through from the cabinet downstairs, just rushing onto the floor. The floor is soaking wet. It's a hardwood floor, so it's fine. And Dylan immediately just goes, Jan, what the fuck? Just so fucking pissed at him immediately. Screams up the stairs, says, Santana, if you're awake, you better come down here. We need you. And he didn't wake up. He had finals. He was probably out cold. So Dylan runs downstairs to the basement because, of course, I was living in another basement, to go shut off the water main. And what we find out is that the floor now has or the ceiling has 4 or 5 gaping holes. Fuck blurs of just so much water just pouring down a solid stream right down into my room. There's like a decent layer of water on the floor. Somehow, fortunately, all of my shit was into one corner that must have been the high point on the floor. And I flipped up my bed, the corner of it got a little wet, and all my computer shit was fine, but I took it all off the floor because my tower was on the floor. My setup was a box with a fucking big cutting board tray on top that held my monitor and my keyboard, and I was sitting on a pillow. It was awful. I don't know how I made that whole fucking game in that shitty condition. So none of my shit got wet, but the room was absolutely destroyed. We had which meant like I grabbed my pillow and my blanket and I slept on the couch. We had, like, I guess they ran through some homeowners association. Dylan contacted them and got a contractor to come out, and he didn't quite have everything. He had made it go run out to Home Depot, came back, and I guess he still didn't have everything, but he got most of it kind of done. So he's like, man, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow. We're like, that's fine. He starts cleaning up everything. I was like, well, if you're coming back tomorrow, like, you don't need to like clean too much. You can clean tomorrow when you get here. He's like, cool, like, thank you. Like, I don't even need to waste that time if you're just gonna make another mess tomorrow. So he leaves and he just fucking never comes back. And like a fucking week or two goes by. He just never came back. And Dylan's on the phone the whole time. He's pissed off at the homeowners association. Another contractor comes out about maybe like 2 weeks in. He's like pretty disappointed with this guy. He's like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, why didn't he finish his job? And we're talking to him. Seems like a chill crew. And like, all right, well, we obviously don't have everything today. We're just doing like an analysis. And but we'll be in touch. We'll be back soon. We'll fix you up. It'd be good to go. And they never came back. I spent the last month in the Torque house sleeping on the couch in the living room because that's my fucking MO of not having a proper living space. And it was, I guess the segue to coding was that it was right after. Like, God, if this happened a little earlier, if my competition went until 2, I would have just heard breaks in the ceiling and I would have had just a waterfall like 3 feet from my face. It was a wild time. Really, really silly. I don't know. Good memory of mine. I don't think I mentioned that this is God's I did. This is God's Autobiography, episode 32. Getting up there. Quick disclaimer, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to do all 100 in the same format. I'm starting to think maybe that I'll do 50, and then the next 50 will be kind of a daily vlog. Me just kind of challenging myself, trying to scare myself. And then the 50 after that will be season 2, which would be when I want to kind of reach out to other people. We'll see. Playing with some ideas. God's Autobiography, 32, Stephen French. Thank you. Peace. Ow. Which way is the fucking camera? The fucking... I did it twice in a row. Yesterday I did it. Today I did it. I missed the stop button.